Okay, we are live. Okay, everybody that is watching, I would like to welcome you to our podcast, Behind Bars in the 505. My guest is Erica, and she's my really good friend. I'm really excited about this podcast because I want to talk about some really concerning issues after we discuss the stuff from our podcast. But I would like to welcome Erica. And
Hey,
freshman, I would like you to tell me your name, how much time you did, and where you did your time, friend.
so I'm Erica Baeza. I did about in and out 7 years, and I was there in Graz at the CCA for most of it, and then I think the last three I did in Springer. But yeah.
Oh
So and
yeah,
I've been out 4 years now, so it's been 4 years that I've been out.
yeah, that's a long time. That's about almost the same time as me, friend. Um, so can you tell me a little bit about your lifestyle? How was it like, and like what led up to your charges?
So that's what I was just telling my son a while ago because now I see and I realize, and I told him, it's sad because I used to live that lifestyle. I go, and that is not a normal life. I go, I'm glad that I don't live like that anymore. And he goes, like, my son, he's 21, and he's like, yeah, I know, like, because they see the difference. But yeah, I used to pretty much like my drug addiction, led to me selling drugs and people in and out of my house, and I got raided. That's why the first time I went to prison was for selling meth. And after that, it was for a parole violation and probation violations. And you know how that goes. But this last time I went in for a DWI. And because I had my son in the vehicle with me. Anyways, they gave me 5 years for that. And because of me, I lost my grandma in there, and I was really close to her, so I got a lot of write-ups for, using Suboxone, whatever. So I lost a lot of good time because of that, and that's when I realized that I wanted to change my life, and I came to Albuquerque, and I pretty much have been here just with me and my kids, this whole time. But I was telling my son, it's sad because I went. Um, Somewhere to pick up a friend, and they said, come in. And when I went in, I seen things that I was just like, I go, and one of my 16-year-old friends lives there, and I told my son, some of these kids have a rough life. I go, and it's sad that they're being raised like that. And I go, I'm glad that I changed and that I don't live like that anymore. And my son, like, I go, because it's hard for me right now, because I know a lot of people don't know and a lot of people do. But I never thought, like, as a parent, that I would be going through having a child being locked up. And like, it is the worst feeling ever. And I tell my mom that I'm sorry all the time because I never realized how much it really affects the family, when we get locked up. It really does. And like, my son, well, I'm not going to talk about anything having to do with his case, but I will say that he's 17 now, but he was 16, and he was arrested for second-degree murder. So that's been, I think, the hardest thing that I've ever had to deal with in my life. Sorry, my throat's messed up because I've been sick, but um, it's hard. It's very hard. And I sit here and I think, there's a lot of kids that don't have good lifestyles, or like they don't have no structure, and those are the kids that I wish, like, I don't know how, but like, I think one of my goals is to help these young boys, because I never realized how bad the whole gun violence issue is, and I'm totally against guns. And I know there's a lot of parents that don't know that their kids have them, and I was one of them. I won't sit here and I don't defend. I'm like totally against. I'm against guns. So I've had a lot of people say, they've threatened to like throw my past on social media. They've said a lot of hurtful things, and now these things were said like months ago, but now that I read them, I think it hurts me even more because, um, yeah, maybe I used to be like that, but I'm not anymore. And I've changed. And people are always going to have something to say. And that's fine because everybody has their opinion. But the way I feel is like people should know their facts and actually know the person before they can say anything about them. But what I'm getting to is that like I was looking at what was going on in that house and I'm just like, damn, that looks awful. That's horrible. And I thought, I don't let people in my house no more. Nobody comes in my house. I don't let people stay here. I don't have no people come to my house. Like it's very, I live a very different lifestyle compared to what I used to. And I've had people say, why don't you go back to Deming, move back home? Because I just moved my 13-year-old over here with me and I didn't want to bring him because I'm like, I don't want to lose another kid to the system or to the streets because my son Luis, he's a good kid and he worked and he went to school and he was always home. He just had a bad choice of friends. And when I was 16, I know my mom wasn't holding my hand. And I don't know what 16-year-old is going to say that their mom watches their every move. And that's where I do get offended because people are quick to say, where were you when your son was over here or whatever. Where were you when you were 16? Was your mom with you every minute of the day? So it's not that my son that he did. No, he's never had a father, and that has a lot to do effect on kids because I also did. I grew up without a father.
People
So
shouldn't people shouldn't talk though, because I
so
remember when
that's
I
why the
was
last time I didn't come on here because I just kind of was already I was going through a lot. And I
16.
think now that I'm coming to like I guess deal with the whole situation, especially with what's been going on, and stuff. But and then being that I had been kept from seeing my son since Halloween. But I finally got my visit last night. It was
Oh,
nice. It
you
was
did?
for
That's
yeah,
nice.
it
That's so
it was
good.
for an hour, and it was. I said it's there's nothing like being able to hug him and kiss him, but we're gonna work on getting those back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really nice because it was for a whole hour, and my boys got to talk to him, and they like my 13-year-old. He cried when he seen him because yeah, like it's reality, and it sucks because um, I never thought that I'd be going through this with him, and it made me want to be even more stronger to because I'm all he has really. Like, and if I'm out here messing up, doing bad, like who is he? Like, who's gonna be there for him? And I go, I'm not, and I'm that mother. Believe me, I call the jail all the time. Like they already know my phone number. Mom,
That's
yeah,
good. That's good. Well,
because I just feel like and that's something that I want to like get more knowledge of like the juveniles rights and our rights as parents because even me with my cases and stuff I never really knew anything about the law, so I always took the first plea deal. I always took and I screwed myself in a lot of ways by doing that, but these were because of things that I never knew about when it comes to politics, and that's what this all comes down to. And how the
yeah.
government it's been hard, but this is one of my cases. I got a certificate of completion, and that was like one of the biggest accomplishments for me because never ever have I ever finished probation or anything. I'm like, so I cried because I was so proud of myself because it's the first time that I've completed, and I have 1 year left on this other case, and I'm out of 5 years. I'm almost done, and I've
That's
had one violation. So you know, I'm pretty proud of myself.
That's good. Okay, I want to ask you well a couple more questions, and then I'm going to go back to the issues at the juvenile detention center. Okay, how did you feel when the judge first sentenced you to do your time?
Oof. I was angry. I was mad at the world. I blamed everybody but myself, you know? And then when I was able to like get sober and be in prison for a little while, like I was able to see that it was me. And I saw like what I needed to change, and I made plans and I made goals of how I was going to change my life, you know? So, but I was angry. I chopped all my hair off. That's how angry I was. Like
Wow. That's a first. No, just kidding. No, because
I
I hear a lot of, and I think one of the things that we connect so much with each other because we all went through that, getting sentenced, going. It's just like a different thing. You had a plea
and you
deal.
know,
I had a trial. Like it's
with my
just
son right
go.
now, his trial isn't till October 2024. That's still a long time away. And so you know what? Like I've this whole time I go, you are being charged as an adult. I'm gonna treat you like an adult. So I don't lie to him about anything, and I am preparing him for the worst,
Oh
just
yeah.
in case, because I want him to be mentally prepared if he doesn't get to come home anytime soon. You know, and he is. He's that little boy is. I've never been gangster, but I just play and I say he's more gangster than me and my brother. But I say that because he's taking it very he doesn't cry, he don't even like to call home really. I mean, he's and I go, "How are you doing in there?" And he goes, "I'm chilling." Like he says, "Why am I going to be miserable here? I'm here, I'm not going nowhere. I have to make the best of it." And he's right. And I feel like I wish all kids knew how to do time like that, but they don't.
That's a good mentality. Well, because you know what
It,
I mean. If you let the time do you, that's what
it's
happens.
awful, and it
Those
makes other
people.
people miserable. And so every time I talk to him, he's just so happy, and it breaks my heart e- either way to see him happy, sad, but like it does make me feel better to know that he is okay, you know? And I was used to seeing him. I would go every visit. I was there every visit. And so like from going to seeing him every week to not being able to see him, that was hard. I go, it affected me, so I can imagine how it affected him, you know? And I feel like, you know, that song, it's that Mama Don't Cry, it really does make people cold hearted. And that's sad because I see that in him. Like it's making him just no feelings, you know? And
It's so hard.
I don't want him to I don't like I told him you have to see it as like something good's gonna happen in your life, or I see it like he's a light in somebody else's life because I've had parents come after me in the visits and say, I just want to thank you because your son prays with my kids. And they're like, thank you for showing your son Jesus, you know? And that like he's a good kid. And I have to thank my mom for that because I'm like my mom practically helped me raise my kids, you know? So it's been crazy because now that I have all my kids, like they're all different ages, and it's hard because they're all angry from me not being there, you know. But we're working on that, and it's taken years. Like it's still we're still like trying to, I guess, not they know. I tell them all the time, I'll never be able to make up for the time I was gone. So let's get over that. Let's get past that, and we're gonna move forward and you know, from here on out. So it's been a crazy ride. I'll tell you that though.
Oh, that's neat. But that's neat that you've been able to reconnect with them and be able to bond with them because some people don't even get that chance. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
yeah, my daughter was angry for years. She didn't talk to me for like 3 years. So she told me, she goes, you know what, Erica? Don't say, show us. She goes, show me. I don't want to hear it. Show me. So I've showed her, and we have an okay relationship, you know? So It's been kind
Oh,
of crazy, but I didn't realize, there's a lot of us women out here that are really, really trying to change our lives and doing something, and
yeah.
I am going to college. I'm going to actually go back here at the end of the month, but I didn't go this last semester because of what happened with my son, and it really did affect me. So
Yeah.
I didn't go this last semester because
That was
I knew that.
probably a good choice though, because you might have failed classes or whatever to give
Yeah,
yourself that time. That was a good choice for you, you know?
I feel like it was, but I need to keep myself busy, so I want to go back.
Good.
So I
That's good.
already
I'm glad you're
enrolled.
gonna go back.
I'm gonna discipline myself, and I'm gonna go to school in person. So I have two classes I'll be taking.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
so good. Where at UNM?
CNM.
Oh, CNM. That's good. That's so good.
Yeah.
That's can you tell me, do you remember about your intake experience when you went to CCA the first time?
Oh my gosh, it was awful, Officer Yazi.
Was it Yazi? Okay, I want to hear this. Well, because hey, I've heard. Let me tell you real
It was
fast, because
horrible.
I'm
She
sure you
scared me.
haven't heard a lot of the things that I've heard. I heard that she elbowed this one girl. She was fingerprinting one of the girls. She was a native girl, and she elbowed her right in her panza
I,
because she wasn't going fast enough. And I was like, I've
that's
heard
fun.
some
I wouldn't
crazy.
doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Come here, Marty. Come here. Look at my dog.
Oh, he's cute. Oh,
That's my first pet. I've never had a pet. Like, and I
ever.
have plants. I never had plants because they would always die. And my plants are, I'm like, look at my plants are growing. I get all excited because I've been able to grow plants, and
I have a
yeah,
bunch of plants. Amal, I have a bunch of
I
plants.
never could keep them
Amal,
because
let's
they
take
would
a
always
plant
die.
too.
They would die. And you know how
Amal,
they say about, oh, look how pretty.
I have a bunch of them. I just cut one of my colas, and I trimmed it, and I got a bunch of clippings, and then I gave a couple to my neighbors, and now it's huge. It looks so good. I'm like,
Oh,
damn, it looks
that's nice.
so pretty. Amal.
You have to bring me one.
I will. I'll bring you one of those. Those ones are pretty. I love. Those are my favorite. Some lady gave me that one, and that is like my favorite plant. Well, because it has
It's
purple on
very
it. It's like
nice.
purple.
Come here, Papa.
It's,
Come here.
so tell me about your intake.
She was really mean. Yeah, I was, I didn't know what to expect, of course, because it's my first time, but she was like yelling at me too. Like I said, cough with
Yeah,
your
yeah, yeah.
stomach.
Yeah. Move
And I'm like,
faster. Yeah.
yeah, I just couldn't stand her. Like she really scared the shit out of me. And I'm like, that's
I
the only
think
thing I
she
think I,
scared the shit out of all of us. No, just kidding.
that's the thing I dreaded the next time I went back was like, oh God, I hate this part. Because she's something else. Yeah. But I keep my prison ID right here and I look at it every day because I want to remind myself of where I don't ever want to be again.
Oh, that's good.
I do really because I just that I can't like this last time I really was like there's no way I could do this anymore. It's not for me. It's horrible and they're like that's not a life. And I've tried to keep my kids from having to see that life. That hurts when now that I am having to sit here and be there for my son.
Yeah.
So, but it makes me want to be stronger for him because I told him no matter what, I stand behind him and I have his back and I'll always be there for him and I'll fight for him and I will protest for him. I don't care what I have to do. But and don't get me wrong, I think about if my if I was in the other person's place. And yes, my heart goes out to a lot of these families that have lost, their loved ones, but I feel like I lost my son too.
Mhm.
So, yeah, it's been I think this is the worst thing I've ever had to go through, honestly, because there for a while, I don't even think I was processing it. Like I felt like I was dreaming, and I felt like my life stopped. Like I didn't even, and I go, I can't even imagine what I've put my mom through all these years, you know?
Right? I'm all, yeah, I'm all, well, because now you're feeling a lot of the stuff that your mom felt with you, and it's kind of like a full circle moment. And yeah, I'm all,
It-
yeah.
It's,
That's,
and like my brother too, he's kind of been the only male figure in their life, and not even he was really there. So it really hurts my brother to see my son there,
right.
because yeah, he's
Can
like,
you
I wish
tell
I was.
us about some of the issues that are going on at the juvenile detention center?
Well, I do know that, and like my son is not. I ask him, a lot of questions, having to do with like how he's being treated, and it. I guess apparently, us that have been there, we know that yes, they're not. They're probably not. They're not lying. I'm sure they're not. But my son doesn't complain to me, and he's fine. Like he says, he's very well taken care of. Yeah, there is the problems. Like I go, are you going to school? No. Well, do you think they care? They don't even want to go to school out here.
Right.
But as a parent, I do care. So no, I go, you need to be going to school. You're supposed to be going 3 times a week. They're not even doing that. So I know that is one of my issues, like as a parent, for sure, is they're not getting the education that they promised us when they arrested them, regardless of what their charges are or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm so that's one of his was one of he says it still is. He's not going to let this affect that, because he goes, I'm still going to graduate, mom. It might be from there, it might be from high school, we don't know, but you never know. And I go, good. And there's my little one, just got home from school. Hi, Michael, how was your day? Good.
Okay.
So but so I know that is an issue. I mean, he loves to eat, so he's not going to complain about the food, period. He's like, he's just like in his own little, he stays in his own little world. But I do know that he said that he is the only unit that has restrooms in their cell, but the other two, there's only 3 units open in that jail. And because of them being short staffed, they've had to like separate a lot of co-defendants and stuff like that. So it's been hard for them. But because of them being short staffed, I know that the unit that he's in now, there's probably like 20 kids in there, and they have a ratio per CO. So there's like, it's like, I think my son told me it's like seven, 7 to 1 or 8 to 1. So if there's more than 8 kids, they have them locked down. So what they're doing is they're letting 10 out, like be out using the phones, watching TV, whatever, for like half the, like whatever, however they're doing it. And then they let the other 10 out. So I go, that's crazy. Like that, I think they should all be out. Who cares if there's only one CO? But
That
I
is
know,
crazy.
and then a lot of the times they do cancel the visits if they're short staffed. I barely, because of what's been going on and me, calling and making a big deal. All of a sudden I got my visit yesterday, so I'm like, how weird and I've been calling for months.
I'm all, how weird. No, just kidding.
But I'm glad, I appreciate that they did it, and I was happy. But I asked him about, what else did I ask him? Oh, like, he says he has a restroom in his room, so
And
he's.
the laundry, well, because they were complaining about the laundry,
And
remember?
I asked him, I go, because it smells, yeah. And he's just like, he's real, he doesn't like to complain or cause problems, because he doesn't want them to treat him different,
Well,
because that is a thing. they
when you're in there for like, okay, I was in there for a capital crime for a long time until my crime went down and I was for burglary or whatever, but I was for a high crime. You're treated a certain way. He's never going to say what is going on because he knows that they will directly, what he says
and
will
he's gonna
impact how he's
and he's gonna
treated. So
and
he
he's gonna
knows
be there
that,
a long time. Exactly.
right?
And that's what my boyfriend told me. You need to understand they are different with these kids that are there for like murder charges, which
Oh
he's
yeah,
one of them.
because he has counsel. He can tell his attorneys and be
Then
like,
that's
da,
what
da, da,
that,
da. So
then
they
that's
are
exactly
going to make sure that his basic needs are met. You know what I mean? Like they're
right.
not gonna be like depriving him, especially him. Do you know what I mean? Maybe other kids, because they're not like, don't have legal representation or a high profile case right now or whatever, but that's going to be, which is kind of good because then you know that he's always going to be kind of taken care of, you know what I mean? Because it's
And I don't.
also,
It's crazy because like I've never been in trouble like to me like it's just crazy because I don't understand a lot of this. Him being a juvenile and the charges like he was. It's just crazy and so I need to educate myself more on his rights and a lot of these like right now it's election time, so a lot of these people are going to try to change a lot of things too. They're even trying to do that with for right now with us adults, and stuff like that. Like, so it's kind of, I just, it's sad that I had to learn so late in life, but now, like, I don't want to see my kids go through what I went through. So I have, like, now with my 13-year-old, I said, I'm going to do what I have to do so that he doesn't go in that direction. But in a way, I think about it and I'm like, what do you do? Keep them tied to you all the time? What? I don't see how people blame parenting and this and that. Like, you can only be with your kids for so much time. Do you get what I'm saying? Once
yeah,
they get to a certain age,
definitely.
you can't. It's just hard. And as a single mother, I don't. Some of these people I just don't understand because they've never had to live. I guess I don't know. They're just quick to say things, and it just I have a lot of I have a lot of anger issues, I guess, but I've learned to just not say nothing because there's some things you just won't ever get answers to.
Yeah, I
But
agree. I agree with you, and I'm glad that you're handling things and processing things in a better way and able to be there for your kids because that's the most important thing. You know what I mean? Is being there for him right now and being that strong support person for him because if he doesn't have you, like who does he have? So that's so good, and I'm glad for that, and I'm glad to hear that he's not directly impacted by a lot of the stuff that's going on in there because a lot of the stuff that is going on in there has been going on for years. It's been going on for a
yeah,
long, long time.
and at first I was concerned because I go, oh my God, I kept thinking, I hope my son is doesn't have anything to do with what happened, and I kept calling the jail like, please don't tell me my son was involved, and they were like, no, and I'm like, thank God.
Right?
But and if he would have been in that pod, I feel like he wouldn't have had a choice. He probably would have been involved.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just the way it is in there. But I feel that these kids, their needs should be met, and I feel like no, they don't deserve that treatment. And as for the strip searches, I wasn't really clear on the policy on that,
Oh yeah,
but
I was wondering that. What is
because
the
I'm not exactly sure, but they say that yes, they can. But I'm like, every time, I don't know. For kids, I think that's a little extensive. But I need to find more out about that because I'm not exactly sure what the deal is with that. But I know that was also one of the concerns too. So
yeah, the strip searches. Extensive. I wonder. I'm just curious myself, as if it's females. If because remember how the girl said she was strip searched 365 times in a year? That's one time every day. Or do you know what I mean? Like, is it just for females or is that for males too? So I'm really curious too, but I wonder what the policy is on that also.
Well, and I'm not sure, but I know that every time my son would come from a visit, they would strip search him. He said, especially like the newer ones would do it. So I don't know what that's about or what they're, because I know that some people are saying that they're not supposed to, but I'm not exactly sure.
Oh
So
wow. Oh
yeah.
wow. Very interesting.
And you know it's sad because they're very they don't, you can't go put money on their books. I've had a hard time with his mail. They reject a lot of his mail. I don't know if it's just the guy picking on him or me. I don't know, but I know I have hung up on him before, so he probably don't like me. But he rejects a lot of my mail, and I think we dealt with that too when we were locked up. You know, the whole mail thing. But they're kids. Why can't they have a birthday card? Or I'm like, I sent him lyrics to this song, and he said that the guy rejected it because that it had bad words. And I'm like, that song does not have one bad word in it. So I'm kind of upset. And they've even charged him with gang enhancement, like a major, for like these things that he was drawing. I guess like the faces from the cards, like the jack, the king, and the queen,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
and they charged him with a major for gang enhancement. And I'm like, what? Like it's just it there is things that I'm like, I don't agree with, and ugh. And I want to do my grievances and all that, but then like you say, I don't want them, he is going to be there a while, and I don't want them to treat him different.
I would advise against it only because, babe, I did 2 years in county awaiting trial, so I know what it's like. And every county that you go to, I was switched to like different counties because we can't, as co-defendants, we can't be together. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I was moved all over, and because I was the older one, they always sent me to, like, do you know what I mean, to
Well,
Gallup or
there for
wherever.
a minute I was like, if they have to, because they at first they were the visits were like the same day as one of his other co-defendants, so they were like making me leave and go back after their visit. And I'm like, that's dumb. Like, if it's going to be like this all the time, where there's going to be a problem because of the co-defendants, then move my son to the jail in Cruces, or like move him, or move one of them, because I'm not going to go through this every time I try to come visit. So it was a thing, and they finally got that situated. But because there's three of them, so and there's only 3 units, so
So they
they have
have
to,
one in each unit. Oh
and if
wow.
there's a problem, well, then they switch them from, they just move them units, like they move them all though.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Man,
it's
I
just,
can imagine how like hard that is. Do you know what I mean? Well, because I don't know. They can't communicate. The like
and
it's just a big old thing.
yeah, it really is. And and what it's doing too, also, what I seen is that they were arrested, well, the two of them, they were all here at my house anyways, they're all friends. And now, because of the law or whatever, they're like turning them against each other, trying to, because they can't even talk, nothing. They're not allowed to look at each other. They're not allowed to, and these little boys have been friends for years. Like my little bro, my little boy calls one of them, his he's like my brother, mom. He tells me so. Like, but it's sad that they keep them away from each other like that. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I just don't understand all this shit. But sorry, I don't mean to cuss.
Mhm. It's gonna, I think it's gonna not work itself out, but like a lot is gonna come out in the end because a lot hasn't even been said, you know what I mean? And I feel like nobody can judge anybody until they know the whole story or they know both sides of the story. You can't judge a book and say, Oh yeah, because they're saying this side, this is the side that's right, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
And only God knows what happened, really, because, like, they're like, yeah, I don't know, because a lot of people like to judge. You know what I mean? And
Of
I
course, and one girl, I've got a lot of like hate messages, and one girl sent me a screenshot of all my like my arrest records from New Mexico courts, and I laugh because I'm like, go ahead, put it all over. I'll put it on there myself because a lot of people that know me, they know what I've been through and how many times I've been locked up. Like, I don't care. It's not going to affect me in any kind of way because I'm the first to say, like, what I've been through has made me who I am today. And I think I'm a better person. So I don't really care what people have to say. I've learned to like learn that nobody pays my bills and nobody takes care of me, so I don't even care no more. I used to, but I think I've learned to just not care.
Yeah, you have to work hard to take care of yourself. Nobody's out there supporting you, you know what I mean? And that's something that we have to learn as all as returning citizens, because a lot of us, we don't even have family, and, and
And
all
I
we have.
do. I have a lot of family and I have a lot of support, but not here. Like
Yeah,
here in Albuquerque, I have a few people, but not very many.
yeah, yeah.
And it was
But
thanks
you
to
made
Justin
that
and
choice
everybody.
to be in a different place so that you would be in a better place. So that's good. I feel like you made a good decision. and
And I
and
have to say a lot of thanks to Justin and the people that work with him because they've been amazing. They've really helped me and they've been a big support. So I appreciate Justin and the people that he works with. There's a Cesar. He is was my son's navigator and he really goes out of his way and goes to the jail and sees my son. He's allowed to see him in person. So I gotta really give him a big shout out and a big thank you because I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. And it's
that's
crazy because I was like, I'm gonna find people that are gonna stand behind me and support this because I feel like they're just they're doing it to a lot of kids and not all of these kids deserve the charges that they're getting too.
yeah.
So, but I just feel like I'm just hopeful that he'll be okay. My son will be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, I would like to give you an opportunity to give a message to anybody who is like formerly incarcerated, or who's maybe been addicted, or who thinks that they can't make it. Who can you give them a message, and or possibly like maybe your former self when you were younger? I always say, like, I always wish I could give myself a message when I was younger. No, just kidding.
I mean, I just want to say that I think that we all can do it. Everybody can do it. It's just, the choices that we make and how we plan to do it. And some people just don't know how or don't but I never knew that there was so much support and there's a lot of people that are willing to help. And so if you're like if I just gotta say, like, if you're not sure or you do want it but you don't know how, like, just ask somebody and somebody will help you. But I think that everybody can do it. It's just the choices we make, really. But good job to everybody who's doing it.
I agree. I agree. I agree with you. I'm so grateful. I'm glad to reconnect with you and to be able to be here to support you as well. You know that I'm a support system for you. If you need anybody, I'm
Yeah,
always here for you. And I'm very grateful to you to come on. Thank you so much. I'm gonna
yeah,
end the
yeah.
live now. And once I publish it, I'll send you a copy. That way you could post it, okay?
All right, thank you,
Thank you,
have a good
friend.
one.
You have a
Okay,
good night. Signing
you
off from
too.
behind bars in the 505. Thank you, everybody. Thanks,
Bye.
friend.